This article sounds a bit loony. Trump demands reinstatement as rightful president or a new election immediately as some Republicans seek distance from him. Well, this is not going to fare well going into the midterm election for Republicans. I mean, here is this man. It's about 2 years after the election. He's still carrying on like this to be reinstated. You know, like if he were thrown out of power. You know, like there was a coup that you read about in the news. Somebody, a leader thrown out by a coup, like the military took over, and he's in some foreign country and he's asking to be reinstated. It's incredible that people support this this lunatic of a man. You know? So let's see here. Let's see. Donald Trump is seeking reinstatement as president or a new election immediately. His statement follows that Facebook limited the story of Hunter Biden's laptop in users' news feeds. In 2020, Trump is doubling down on false election fraud claims as some Republicans seek distance from the issue. Former President Donald Trump demanded reinstatement as president or a new election immediately after news that Facebook temporarily limited a controversial story about Hunter Biden's laptop and users' feeds before the 2020 election. Trump was responding to Facebook, now Meta, CEO Mike Zuckerberg's comments on Joe Rogan's podcast that a New York Post story about the laptop fit the pattern of polarizing content, including Russian propaganda that the FBI had warned the company about. The laptop story had several red flags that raised questions about its authenticity. Yeah, but Trump doesn't care about the word authenticity. That's not part of his vocabulary, you know? Everything is authentic if he claims it is. So about its authenticity, and Facebook limited its reach on the site's newsfeed for a few days. Trump's statement on Truth Social doubles down on false election fraud claims. As some Republicans, the Washington Post has learned, are trying to distance themselves from his personal grievances ahead of the midterm election in November. In his statement, Trump wrote in all capital letters that the FBI buried the Hunter Biden laptop story before the election, knowing that if they didn't, Trump would have easily won the 2020 presidential election. This is massive fraud and election interference at a level never seen before in our country. Let me just pause here and say that at the time when this story was going on, who was president? It was Trump. Who hired the FBI director? You know, Christopher Wray. It was Trump. So Trump hired the FBI director. He was president while the story was going on, and yet the FBI would have the nerve to bury a story. Come on. Let's be real here now, you know. This is nothing more than like being on a psychiatric ward with mental health patients. People who are people who are what's called flight of ideas, you know. They say things that don't make any sense. This is what this is really all about. This is I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist and so forth. But I remember when I studied psychology, I remember learning about flight of ideas. Also in nursing, flight of ideas. That people say things that you can't really connect together. They don't make any sense. So that's why the term flight of ideas, because what they're saying you can't put together to make any sense. So Trump continued, remedy. This is his remedy now. Declare the rightful winner, or, and this would be the minimal solution, declare the 2020 election irreparably compromised and have a new election immediately. This is really madness, you know? Stephen Fowler says we're about 10 weeks before the 2022 midterms and Donald Trump is still openly talking about undoing, rejecting the 2020 presidential election results, which still can't happen legally or logistically, which still, for now, doesn't seem to affect his chances in 2024. Facebook allowed users to share the story, but it showed up less in people's news feeds, so it was seen less. During Rogan's program, Zuckerberg said he couldn't recall if the FBI warned him about the New York Post story specifically, but he thought the story fit the pattern. But Meta later tweeted that nothing about the Hunter Biden laptop story is new, and that the FBI shared general warnings about foreign interference, nothing specific about Hunter Biden. And this is their version right here, Meta responding. Trump has been railing against the FBI since agents searched his Mar-a-Lago home early this month for classified documents. Trump won't be reinstated after losing the election, although QAnon conspiracy theorists spread the idea a year ago. The New York Times' Maggie Haberman said last year that Trump was telling allies that he thought he'd be reinstated as well. Fellow investigators were weighing possible charges related to Hunter Biden's business activities. The president has not been implicated, CNN reported, but Republicans say they will ramp up their investigation of the Bidens if they win control of the House. So people, this is what will happen. If you vote in Republicans in November, this is where they're going to take the U.S. government. They're going to be bogged down, you know, like an army convoy with heavy military tanks, you know, in mud. Try moving your military tanks in a heavily wet, muddy area. See how far you're going to get. That's what's going to happen to the U.S. government if these people are in control of Congress. They're going to just come out with all sorts of crazy hearings. Now Trump, he reminded me of the character King Lear. The king, who was obviously crazy, and he just want to have yes people around him, like a couple of his daughters to go along with him so they can inherit his the inheritance they can inherit, but only one daughter stood up to tell the truth. You see, so Donald Trump is the modern day King Lear. You know, yeah. If you ever read that version, Shakespeare's play King Lear, that's Donald Trump for you. The modern day King Lear.